Hello everybody, it's The Warm, and welcome back to Steins Gate. Last time, we took a very significant step forward in our story here. If you'll recall, in the opening episodes of my playthrough, when we were just introduced to Krisu and saw a newspaper with her, or maybe it was a scientific journal, I'm not entirely sure which. We were introduced to the idea of memories being turned into data, and that idea has emerged again, and it's going to be put into practice. Yes, it seems we are going to try and send our memories back in time. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm thinking that when we do this, we will probably be going into the perspective of the past Okabe. That's what I'm thinking. And if that is the case, that it raises... I feel like we're going to be raising a lot of questions regarding the nature of personhood here. You know, are we our memories? Where is the soul in this equation? Do those sorts of questions even matter? Especially with regard to multiple timelines, or, you know, all these sorts of things are probably going to get a bit of play here. Just in exactly what way, I'm not entirely sure. One thing I am thankful for is that Krisu sort of clarified what's going to go on here. It's not the consciousness, it's not the personality, it's just the memories that are going to be transferred. Now, so essentially, the person in the past, which is, I'm thinking it's going to be Okabe, it's going to be a past version of Okabe, and he's just going to get memories from a future Okabe. Well, for one, I know Krisu was mentioned that she was worried about some after effects of that happening, and that made me wonder, you know, how much memory is being sent back here? Is it going to be Okabe's entire life? Because imagine, we're using the phone again. Imagine opening your phone, and then suddenly, and this is going to be Okabe, I don't know how far back they're going to go, but it could be potentially years. Imagine suddenly years and years of memories suddenly hitting you, or I'm not sure how to describe that. That can't be a simple, easy process. I have to imagine, I don't know if he's gonna, I mean, worst case scenario, I could imagine something like going into a coma, or you know, some crazy thing, because it seems like a lot. I'm sure we'll get into specifics, because on these sorts of occasions, the game has gone into specifics, so, yeah. Of course, well, let me say this, and this isn't necessarily about Steins Gate. Have you ever started reading a story or watching a show or movie or any sort of thing like that, and you don't like it, or you find it uncomfortable, or you get uneasy, or any sort of thing like that, and yet you know, you'll watch the first episode or read the first chapter, and you wouldn't have liked what you've read, and yet you find yourself, like, over the next few days, sort of fascinated by it. It's you know, it was, you could even say maybe it was disturbing or something. And yet, you just can't help but wonder, okay, but where does this go? or how does this end, or something like that. And so, you could try to forget it, or try to put it away, and yet, inevitably, over the next few days or weeks, you just think about it. And then you find yourself eventually going back, and then that experience is, you're reading something you find potentially, certainly uncomfortable, but even disturbing. I'm not saying Steins Gate is exactly that right now, but it's an experience that I've had with some other stories, where I realize they're going to be addressing some difficult subjects, so to speak, and I really, but I just can't help but go back to it. And I'm feeling that Steins Gate is could potentially get into that territory here. Time travel in and of itself, that's already something I don't really, what's the right way to say it? It could be spooky. Let's just say that. That's kind of a simple, silly way to say it, but it can be, at least to me. And now, with what we've discussed here regarding memories, it really feels like you could get into some nasty territory. I mean, especially, I mentioned it in the previous episode, we had Krisu say, well, she tried to be definitive. She said, well, we wouldn't send one person's memories back to a different person. And I was thinking, oh, well, that's good, because doing that opens up a whole can of worms. But then she said she didn't say it was impossible. She was just worried about the results, and that made me think, oh no, you haven't dismissed the idea. Well, you've dismissed doing it, but you haven't said it's impossible. So now I'm worried about what sort of scenarios could be possible in this game. I still, I don't know how long this game is. I still actually feel I feel like I'm still within the first half of the game. I don't know if that's true, don't tell me. But I still feel like I've not really seen what Steins Gate is all about just yet. So yeah, I need to reorder my notes too, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, I think I'm done stalling. Let's get back into this. Krisu and Daru go home, leaving me with Mayuri. I thought she was hard at work on her costume, but when I look, I find her staring at the wall. Her hands have stopped moving.
Mayuri? 帰らないのか?
She usually doesn't stay this late. Her parents might be worried.
あのね、さっきのオカリンやクリスちゃんの話を思い出してたの。思い出してね、なんとか頑張って理解しようと思ったんだけど、ダメだったよ。ただね、なんとなくわかるのは、すごいことになってるみたいっていうことかな。
いかにも、人類は新たなる段階に進むことになる。そしてそれは、このラボから始まるのだ。
眩しいな。
眩しい？どういう意味だ？
オカリンもクリスちゃんもキラキラ輝いてて。
それはこの俺、法王院京馬が放つ狂気のオーラだろう。
あのね、クリスちゃんが入ってきてからそろそろ10日ぐらいでしょ。その間、マユシーが感じたこと言っていい？クリスちゃんがラボ面になってね、なんだかラボの空気がビシッと引き締まった感じがするんだ。
ふん、 認めなくてはならないな。確かにあいつの知識は凄まじいものがある。そしてそんな天才少女を仲間に引き入れたこの俺、法院教魔の功績もまた素晴らしきものだと言わざるを得ない。
だからね、眩しいの。クリスちゃんはラボとオカリンにとってすっごく役に立ってるでしょ。でもね、マユシーはあんまりオカリンの役に立ててないのです。
Mayuri looks depressed.
マユシーももっと頭が良かったらな。そしたらオカリンの役に立てたのにね。
マユリ。
She's never expressed such sentiments before. Is she jealous of Chris's talents? Is there competition brewing in the lab? That's not what I'm sensing here. I sigh and walk to the window. I can't see many stars in the sky.
マユリ、今日は星を見ないのか?
Mayuri comes up beside me. We lean out the window together. It's only 9 p.m., but Akiba is already still and silent, save for the occasional car trundling by.
このラボを作ったばっかりの頃、ダル君もいない頃にね、よくこうして2人で静かに過ごしてたよね。
ああ、そうだな。
Daru joined the lab in early May. Before that, he was unwilling to join no matter how I tried to convince him. Then he learned that the lab was just 3 minutes away from May Queen plus Nyan Squared, and suddenly he was all like, actually, I've always wanted to join the Future Gadget Lab. That's interesting. But for about a month and a half after the lab's founding, it was just me and Mayuri. That raises the question as to why he joined now that May Queen Squared plus, or was it May Queen plus Nyan Squared, that doesn't exist anymore, so why did he join this time around, I wonder?
マユシーはこれからもここにいてもいいのかな。
Mayuri looks at me with uncertainty in her eyes. I meet her gaze firmly, then bob her lightly on the head.
くだらないことを言うな。マユリはここにいるだけでいいんだ。
いるだけ？
お前がいなかったらこのラボはもっと殺伐としていただろう。特に俺と助手は水と油みたいなところがあるからな。互いに意見をぶつからせて喧嘩になってもおかしくない。だがそんな時にマユリが空気の読めない能天気コメントを発することで殺伐さが中和されるのだ。
褒められてるのかな。
もちろん褒めている。何も案ずるな。お前がここにいるのは俺にとっては計算のうちなのだからな。
そっか、ありがとう、オカリ。
Mayuri smiles in relief. And then her stomach rumbles.
お腹空いちゃった。おでんか温めよった。オカリンも食べる？
ああ、もらう。
じゃあちょっと待っててね。
Soon we are chowing down on piping hot Odin. The next day, Mayuri and I go shopping at Radikan. We have a list, written by Krisu, of parts for the Time Leap machine. Naturally, I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket. Krisuna and Daru have already started work on the upgrade. Apparently, the conversion of memories into digital data requires software developed at Krisu's lab in America. She can download that software from their dedicated server. But that's not the only thing we need. There's also some kind of brain-scanning headgear that we're going to have to make ourselves. Incidentally, I have to pay extra close attention to make sure Mayuri doesn't wander off while we're shopping. If she sees some random store that interests her, she'll literally stop and stare at it for hours. Naturally, I keep walking unaware, only later realize that she's not behind me. Then I have to run from store to store looking for her. This must be how parents of small children feel. Anyway, this is nothing new. Mayuri has always been like this.
頼むから俺についてこい。この迷宮ではぐれたら、おそらくお前は自力では外に出られないぞ。
わかった。気をつけるね。でね、オカリ、タイムリープとタイムトラベルってどう違うの？
Did she really hear what I just said about not wandering off? Besides, Krisu already explained the difference yesterday.
タイムトラベルは体ごと時間を飛び越えること。タイムリープは記憶だけが時間を飛び越えることと覚えればいい。
Just memories. No personality or consciousness included. Although Krisu did mention that there was no way to be sure what might happen to your consciousness. Oh, well, that's just great. That's just great to read.
そっか。じゃあ D メールとタイムリープだとできることってどう違うのかな？
D メールは過去へ指示できるだけだった。過去は変わるかもしれないし、変わらないかもしれない。それは受け取った人間次第であり、成功率は未知数だった。それに、過去が変わった場合、変える前の記憶は失われる。世界線が再構成されるからだ。
I am the exception, thanks to reading Steiner. Okay, so this could be this is something I said in the beginning of the episode. Here's something that's... I actually wanted to go a bit more in depth on this, but I think I got off on a tangent. What I wanted to go into was, so far, how do I phrase this? We have had continuity in our perspective here. This Okabe that we have been with since the beginning of the game, I don't know if he's jumping timelines, or if the world line is changing and he's just remembering how it used to be, or if he's somehow moving between timelines, and I don't know if that means it's just his memories. Well, I guess so far it's been his memories, his consciousness, and personality have all remained consistent. If we send his memories back in time, are we going to go with those memories and then be in the perspective of Okabe in the past? Or is it going to be the same thing as with the D-mails, where we're still going to be here, we're going to be the same Okabe, and we just will remember due to reading Steiner? Now that I've said that, I feel like it's going to be the second thing. I feel like we're going to continue on the same continuity here. That's what I think's going to happen. Okay. Yes, I'm the exception thanks to reading Steiner.
それに対してタイムリープだと、例えば1週間前のお前の頭の中に今のお前の記憶が丸々流れ込んでくることになるはずだ。
We won't know for sure if it works until the machine is built.
えっと、 を持って1週間前へ行ける？コミマまでの時間を1週間分稼げてマユシー大勝利みたいなこと？
タイムトラベルならば可能だろうが、タイムリープでは無理だ。2日前に受けたテストの答えを知っている状態でテストの前へ戻ることはできる。だが回答済みの答案用紙を持って2日前へは戻れない。
じゃあマユシーの意識は1週間前のマユシーの中に入っちゃうってこと？
そういうことだ。
While this conversation has been going on, I've been steadily purchasing items from Chris's shopping list.
物は持っていけないけど記憶は持っていけるんだね。そっか。でもそしたら1週間前のマユシーの中にあったマユシーの記憶はどこに行っちゃうのかな。
Here's where we start to get into difficult questions. I would assume at the moment that she would keep her memories, and then she would just gain the additional memories. But then again, remember, this is the first time they're ever going to be doing this thing, right? So it's an experiment in and of itself. So presumably, if we're talking about two Mayuris and they're just 1 week apart, then there's going to be only 1 week of new memories. So when you send all your memories back, maybe it would be okay. Maybe because her entire life before that has been exactly the same, maybe in that instance, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe maybe the overall effect of the time leap is just that 1 week of time. What am I trying to think of here? You wouldn't remember things twice, would you? Does that even make sense? Am I making sense, or am I talking crazy right now? I'm trying to think of it. Like if I'm sending my memories back to me a week ago, I would get the memories of all my life up until then, plus a week into the future. But maybe because my whole life up to that moment should have been exactly the same, maybe it's basically nothing. And so maybe the only new memories are the 1 week in the future. Sorry if it sounds like I'm just stating the obvious, or if I'm just saying nonsense. I'm trying to figure this out. Well, I guess it won't really be clear until we actually do it once, huh?
上書きされるのではないか?
Overwritten. What do you mean by that? But remember, we said that the consciousness and personality wouldn't be going back. Just the memories. We haven't tested it though, so there's no way to be sure. And see, how do you process that? I mean, it was kind of mentioned in the comments, and we mentioned in the episode last time, but you know, I can remember pretty much my whole life. You know, minus there's tons of inconsequential things that you forget about all the time, right? But your whole life you can pretty much remember at any time. But it's not like you remember all of it at the same time. If you want to, this was mentioned by Chrisu and in the comments, and I like the analogy, what was it, of opening drawers and drawers within drawers. So you have to kind of go through, it's like, so I want to get a specific memory. So I was in the, so you'd have to think back. I was at this school back then, and then I was in this grade back then, and I was in this classroom, and I had this teacher, and I sat next to this person. You know, you have to go layer, layer, layer. So if you get all the memories back at once, what does that really mean? Okay, I think I'm speculating on stuff I don't really need to be speculating on right now. Let's just continue. We haven't tested it though, so there's no way to be sure.
消えちゃうってこと？
消えたとしても、1週間前のお前の記憶と今のお前の記憶は連続している。記憶が上書きされたとしても、1週間前までのお前の記憶には何も変化はない。
So this is sort of what I was saying. This is sort of what I was saying with the, you have two sets of the same memories. I'm not sure if disappear is the right word to say here exactly. Okay.
未来の1週間分の記憶が追加されるという言い方をした方が良さそうだ。
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, it took me a bit of a roundabout way to get there, but I think that's what I think I get what, I think I'm here with you. All right.
じゃあね、1週間前のマユシーに記憶を飛ばしたら、今のマユシーの体はどうなっちゃうんだろう。
Well, you'd still be here. Or no. That's if we're talking about multiple timelines. If it's multiple timelines, then you'd still be here. It would just be you've created a new timeline where there's a Mayuri that has memories of 1 week in the future of a different timeline. But if, and what it sounds like is that we're going to be only on one world line, at least that's what, let me see here, where was it? Yeah, from what Rintaro Okabe has said here, this has sounded more like a single timeline right here. Then, yes, the world line is reconfigured. Everyone loses their old memories. So, in that instance, I think it would be more appropriate to say you disappear. But again, I don't even know, that's probably not an appropriate way to describe it either. Mayer is asking some pretty philosophical questions today. But I guess anyone would ask the same. Because, I mean, that's a frightening thing to think about. You know, are we... If we're just getting reconfigured, then presumably it's still us. But I guess the potential frightening thing is thinking, well, are you just technically just deleting yourself or deleting this, you know? I don't know how to think about that.
マヨシーが1週間前に記憶をビューンって飛ばしても、オカリンはここにいるんだよね。オカリンから見ると、意識が飛んでったマユシーはどうなっちゃってるのかな。
抜け殻になっている。いや待て、そうじゃない。そういうことじゃないはずだ。
No, I didn't. It wouldn't. I wasn't thinking that you would be removing your memories and sending them back. I thought it was going to be something like copying your memories and sending it back, something like that. Because I don't think that's what Chrisu was saying. So you'd still be you. But again, in the instant of the actual time travel, if the world line reconfigures, that's where I'm not sure what that means.
助手がやろうとしているのは記憶をデータ化して保存する。つまりバックアップでしかない。記憶をすべて脳から抜き去ってそれをデータ化するわけではないのだ。
Yep, yep. Nothing inside the brain is lost. You don't become an empty shell. Besides, neither personality nor consciousness is transferred to begin with. Yes, that's what, yeah, we mentioned that before.
だから抜け殻になったり意識が飛んだりすることはないはず。
No, wait. There's another issue here.
というか1週間前に戻ってまたその1週間を経験してきたマユリがここにいることになるのではないか。
Yes, that's what, this is what we have to try and untangle, Okabe. Not that anybody, including me, would be able to tell the difference. Unless you still maintain your reading Steiner somehow.
じゃあタイムリープする前の最初の1週間を過ごしたマユシーはタイムリープしてその1週間を繰り返したマユシーに消されちゃうの？
Yeah, that was the question. This is getting complicated.
そうだ、消える。もう一度やり直すと言うべきだな。そっくりそのままトレースすることもできるし、全く別の行動を取ることもできる。それと消えた最初の1週間の記憶自体はマイルが持ち続けていることになる。
じゃあね、じゃあね。
The questions keep coming. She's trying hard to understand in her own ditzy way.
もしも1週間前に戻ったマユシーが1週間後の今日ラボには来なくて学校のお友達と池袋で遊ぶことにしたらどうなるのかな。今はマユシーはこうしてオカリンとお話ししてるけど、
過去が変わり今も変わることになるだろう。こうしてここで俺とお前が話している事実は消滅するはずだ。
ふーん、それをオカリンは気づかないんだよね。
Well, I don't really know the limits of reading Steiner yet, so I'm not sure.
ああ、そうだ。
だとしたらね、なんだか寂しいね。
Yeah, we mentioned this a few episodes back too. That's that's been the drawback of the reading Steiner so far. But at least now someone else would get to experience that sort of thing.
俺が？
ううん、マユシーが。
Exactly. I don't get what she means. Nah, I understand what she means.
だからクリスちゃんは過去を変えたくないって言ってたのかも。
Well, maybe she was hesitant at first, but especially now that her research is involved, I don't know about that. She seems pretty gung-ho on this now. She nods to herself with a bright smile.
あ、ねえねえねえ、タイムリープは未来には飛べないのかな。
飛べるかもしれないが飛んだところで意味はない。
Chrisu and I reached that conclusion yesterday. The memories you send overwrite the memories at your destination. Overwrite. Okay. If you sent your memories 1 week into the future, then the future you would lose 1 week of memories.
俺たちがやろうとしているタイムリープは過去に送ってこそ進化を発揮するのだ。それに過去より未来の方が届かない可能性は高い。過去については思い出すことができるが未来については予測がつかないからな。例えばマユリは未来永劫にわたって同じ電話番号の携帯を持ち続けていると思うか？
わかんないよ。
つまりそういうことだ。それにかつてポケベルが携帯の出現で廃れてしまったように、携帯に代わる新たなパーソナル端末が爆発的に流行してしまうかもしれない。
In order for the time leap to succeed, the target, you, must have a phone whose number you know. As long as that condition is met, there should never be a problem with setting that destination. But now I'm thinking of something like, again, this was my question last time. We're sending the data to a phone, and then the idea, I guess, is ourselves in the past will open up the phone, and then they just get the memories. Like apparently we need to construct some sort of device that's gonna go on our head and records the data, right? Wouldn't you need something like that in order to do it the other way, to get the memories in your head or something? I don't know. But okay, let's assume that is what happens. You get a message on your phone, you open it up, you get the memories. Now, they're probably going to be very careful about this, so they will send it to a time where they know, okay, here's where I am at this moment with the phone that I'll be there to open it. But I was just imagining a scenario where we send it to the phone, and I don't know, for whatever reason, the phone's not in our pocket at the time, or it's sitting on a table or something. And, you know, I mean, it's not... It doesn't have to be likely, but just as a thought experiment. And so someone else opens up the phone. Would they get the memories instead? Like, I'm not understanding this process here. I think we just need to see it happen. Once again, we just need to see it happen. As long as the conditions are met, there should never be a problem with setting the destination. The real problem is what inside the phone wave name subject to change is acting as the lifter. Until we figure that out, we can't reproduce the discharge phenomenon at will. The phone wave name subject to change will remain incomplete. On the other hand, if we can figure it out, we'll have an endless source of electrons that, unlike CERN's, needs no tuning. I'm exhilarated. The phone wave name subject to change is evolving by the day. Our invention of the time leap machine will put us light years ahead of CERN. Time travel will finally become a reality. I can't wait to try it out. My soul yearns for the taste of chaos. I barely managed to keep from bursting out in mad laughter. Come to think of it, more than 1 week has passed since we've sent the first email, and although there was that strange threatening email, there remains no sign of Men in Black coming to haul us away. According to Daru, CERN hasn't discovered our hacking either. And yet, there's a fiber optic line to your building. Okay. The next problem is what will happen when we use the time leap machine. In order to compress a human's entire wealth of memories into the requisite 36 bytes, we have to borrow the LHC's black hole. I can't believe that CERN won't notice an unauthorized activation of the LHC. Yeah, that's what I was saying. How do we keep them from finding us? We need a plan.
そっか。じゃあマユシーが小学生の頃へも飛べないんだね。その頃は携帯持ってないもん。
Man, I think we all have those thoughts every once in a while, right? How would I do things differently if I were back in school, you know? I mean, I've had thoughts like that sometimes. Like if you could get your younger self in a room and just say, okay, listen. You could say anything. You know, these people don't hang out with them. These people do hang out with them. Join this club. Don't join that club. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Mayuri is still talking about the time leap.
お前は小学生の頃へ戻りたいのか？気持ちはわかる。 今の知識を持って小学生からやり直せば学校の成績はおそらく学年トップになれるだろうし、人間関係もうまくこなせるだろう。
Well, I guess there's that.
それにね、おばあちゃんにも会えるかもって思ったんだ。
Aw.
そうか。残念だったな。
Mayuri's grandmother passed away when Mayuri was in elementary school.
残念は残念だけどね、どうしても会いたかったわけじゃないよ。おばあちゃんの言葉とかね、笑顔とか、マユシーの頭を撫でてくれたシワシワの手とかね、マユシーは今でもちゃんと覚えてるもん。だからね、わざわざ会わなくても平気なの。それよりもね、その頃のオカリンにもう一度会ってみたいなって思って
あの当時からこの俺はマッドサイエンティストとして完成されており、周囲のガキンチョどもとは一線を画した人間だった。そんなイフのオーラを放つ天才小学生にして未来のマッドサイエンティスト、おーインキョーマに会いたいというお前の気持ちよくわかるぞ。
会いたいのは法王院なんとかじゃなくてオカリンだよ。
I am Hoing Kyoma. Always have been, always will be. Mayuri just doesn't get it. So I disregard her comment.
だがやめておけ。精神年齢において当時から全く成長していないお前では、仮に今小学生に戻ったところで何も変わらんからな。
そんなことないよ。マユシーもちゃんと成長してるもん。
食べる量が増えたぐらいだろ。
And your breast size.
そんなことないのです。マユシーはちゃんと大人の階段を登ろうとしているのです。
A real woman? I kind of want to hear the details, but she probably doesn't know what she's talking about.
それよりもね、オカリンの方が当時から止まったままだと思うな。
だから何度も言っているだろうが、この俺は当時の時点ですでに完成されていたのだとな。
The shopkeeper shoots me a glare. I guess this isn't the best place for maniacal laughter. Better get those parts and head back to the lab. That was kind of a... It really feels like we haven't done much yet, but I'm already getting up there on time. Well, I think we'll probably call it there for the day. Sorry if I haven't made that much progress, but I do want to say a few things. First of all, boy, did this hit me hard. Especially this part of the conversation here. I think my conclusion from this episode is Mayuri is too pure for this world, and I'm now very worried. I'm very worried that if anything about anything that could potentially happen to her in the future here. Oh boy. it's pretty incredible just how what is the proper word to describe her even? Well, pure. Pure was, I think that's a good way to say it. Yeah. Ugh, yeah, this, that hit me hard right there. That was a lot. Okay. Yeah, we'll call it there for today. Next time, I'm sure we'll probably get to something more substantial. What with creating the brain scan machine, and then we'll try to practically answer all the questions that Mayuri had for us this time around. And a lot of those were very uncomfortable, so I'm sure I will be uncomfortable again in the future. In any case, I've been The Worm. This has been Steins Gate. I hope you're all doing all right, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.